Hi, my name is Frankie Maish. I am a student in the Master of Communication program at UW-Whitewater, and today I'm going to be sharing my professional communication portfolio. So this portfolio is the final project for my Capstone course. It features a culmination of work I've completed over the past 2 years, both for coursework throughout the program and for my job at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. So I'm going to share my screen here. Just give me one moment. All right. So the first project in my portfolio here is the Tech Show and Tell project, and this is for COMM 703 corporate communication topics. The purpose of this assignment was to share a piece of technology that we use to communicate professionally. So I chose to create my presentation and a one-page handout on the project management system ClickUp. This is an introduction of the project. It answers some prompts that are for this assignment here. And then this is a link to the actual presentation, and this is a link to the handout. So for viewing purposes today, I'm just going to show you the handout. But this is the first page. It goes over the cost of ClickUp and then how I use it in my own workflows, and then goes into how ClickUp can be useful in corporate environments. Moving right along, the next project I have here is my crisis communication plan for COM 712 crisis communication. So using what we had learned in this class, we were instructed to create a crisis communication plan for a business of our choice. There was a lot of theory application, problem solving, critical thinking involved in this assignment. And I have the full plan laid out here. As you can see, it is 26 pages, so quite thorough. I'll just click through the first few to give you an idea of what it looks like. So it starts off with some background and an about section about the Legacy Hotel, which is the business I chose. And then it goes into actual crisis risk and threat assessment, and then how we would solve those threats in the event of an actual crisis. Next, I have my multimedia website here. This was created for COM 724, which is Technology, Globalization, and Communication. So for this project, we were prompted to choose a global topic or issue that was important to us, and we had to create a website that communicated that topic through an intercultural lens. So my website consisted of different blog posts, which you can see here, a timeline of women's rights events around the world, some action and advocacy, so agencies and organizations getting involved, petitions, and then social media resources. So all of these things here are related to gender equality and intersectional feminism around the world, which is a very important topic to me personally. Really enjoyed combining this topic with what I was learning in communication and in this class specifically. The next project here is my final research project for COM 785, Applied Communication and Research. So for this assignment, my classmates and I were instructed to conduct research on a topic of our choosing, and then we had to create a presentation of our findings. I chose to report on mental health services at UW Green Bay and how adding an additional counselor to our wellness center staff would help meet the growing needs of our students. So this is the presentation here. I'm not going to show it to you because it's a recorded presentation and I don't want to be talking over myself. But basically, I started out with some national mental health data that I funneled down into data in higher education related to mental health, and then drilled down even more into specifically data at UW Green Bay. Next is my cultural analysis presentation. So this project was created for COM 727, Corporate Communication Administration. This is a cultural analysis of Starbucks, and this involved analyzing Starbucks' espoused or stated values and comparing them to perceived values by Starbucks employees. So as part of my research, I interviewed two Starbucks employees and learned their perspectives on the company culture and their experience working for the company. So down below, I have a presentation about Starbucks and then a paper to go along with it. The presentation consisted of, again, outlining those espoused or stated values, showing some common themes that showed up in those interviews that I conducted, and then some recommendations on how Starbucks could improve their company culture. Next, I have my intercultural case analysis, and this is the last piece that I'm going to show you related to my coursework. So this was for COMM 724, again, technology, globalization, and communication. This project involved analyzing advertisements from a company that has a global marketing footprint. I chose to look at Airbnb and studied advertisements targeted toward audiences in South Korea, Japan, and Brazil. So I applied concepts that were learned in class to explain how and why these advertisements were effective for the intended audiences in those countries due to cultural differences and differences in priorities. I have a presentation here, and then again, a paper to go along with it. I can actually show you the presentation. So basically started out with an introduction about Airbnb, went into advertisements from each country, and then gave a very short explanation of that country's culture. So like I said, started off with South Korea, went into Japan and their culture, and then Brazil and their culture. Next, I'm going to go into our staff social media features. So this is the first project that is related to my work at UW Green Bay. These are a series of really fun, lighthearted videos that showcase both behind the scenes work within this department. And my hope here is that students get to know the staff a little bit better and feel comfortable approaching them. So the knowledge that I gained in COMM 740, which is social and new media messaging really helped me further understand how to create the right content for our audiences and consider the messages that we wanted to convey here. All of these videos are linked below. There are 6 of them here, but there are several more in the series. I will let you click through and view if you would like. Next, I'm going to move on to GB orientation. So this project has a lot of different pieces, all of which I designed. I wrote the copy. I created some social media content for these pieces. GB orientation is UW Green Bay's version of advising and registration for incoming students. This includes first year and transfer students. And these pieces are really intended to help students and their parents or supporters feel more at ease about entering college. So we really try to answer any questions they would have right away, point them to the right resources they need, especially within the first couple weeks of the school year. The content here really connects to COMM 780, which is written communication for diverse audiences, because there were a lot of different audiences that we had to keep in mind while creating these pieces. So like I said earlier, first year students, transfer students, parents and supporters, and then Green Bay also has a very large Hispanic population. So all of these pieces were also translated into Spanish for those families. We send out a mailer right away in the beginning of the year to help get GBO top of mind. This is a guidebook for the students that they receive upon arriving at GBO. This is a schedule and checklist that the students also receive right away. These 2 pieces here are for our families and supporters. So this is a calendar of important dates throughout the semester. This is an interactive workbook that they can use throughout the day to write down questions. It also has a list of resources and FAQs. This is the GB orientation website, which I won't click into because there's a lot of content there, but it's basically home base for all of the information needed for GBO. And then this is a vlog that I captured and edited and posted for GBO, hopefully to help students understand what their day is going to look like before coming to campus. Finally, the last project that I have here is for Parent and Family Weekend. This is a suite of materials for the event that we hosted last October. And these pieces also relate to COMM 780 because, again, the marketing targeted students, parents, supporters, and other family members. So lots of audiences in the mix there. For this project, I designed and wrote the copy for a postcard, did all the copy for the website here, wrote, designed, and posted this schedule on our website. I actually had my students work on the 2 social media posts, but again, I oversaw that process and helped direct them in the right direction. And then I also did not write this email here, but I wanted to include it in the overall marketing mix of all of the pieces that we created for Family Weekend. And that is everything in my portfolio. Thank you so much for watching, listening. I know I went through that very quickly, but had to keep it under 8 minutes. So I'm very excited to be wrapping up my graduate journey here and just looking forward to seeing what's next. Thanks so much.